Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. The triumphant return of the 5 under 5 video for week 17. 2 weeks ago, this video got completely obliterated by all the COVIDity and multiple games getting moved off the slate that like all 5 guys that were included on this recording were either moved off the slate and no longer even in play, or the other ones went from being under 5% to being 15 to 20% on projection. So I just didn't publish the video. Last week was Christmas, so I didn't make a video on Christmas. But we are back this week. Happy New Year to everybody. It is New Year's morning as this video gets published. We're recording it on New Year's Eve at about 10 in the morning. So please, you don't have to put on your Shefty costume and get into the mentions and tell me that this guy is now out, or this guy is now, or is this guy like, look, I'm going to try and stay as good as we can. There's a ton. It's a massive slate, 14 games. So there's a ton of value plays. There are a lot of plays that are great high ceiling plays that are under 5% on this slate. I'm going to identify 5 of them for you. If you wanted to discuss with the Smiz gang, everybody else that kind of hangs out, and you're a channel member on YouTube, you have access to all of the VIP channels, the sub-only channels in Discord. Go to smizzle.tv/Discord, and you can jump in there and talk about all those plays in real time as things change. Basically, there's somebody in there talking about daily fantasy NFL 24 hours a day during football season. So if you're not in the Discord, go to smizzle.tv/Discord. The link is in the show more down below in the description. If you're on mobile, click on the name of the video. It'll show you all the description down there. It's right there. And get into the Discord. And if you're a channel member, you have access to all the VIP rooms. That will help you become a better player, whether it's for NFL, NBA, when MLB gets here, golf, sports betting, or anything else. Thank you guys for being here. Happy New Year. I hope you had a great one last night. Let's go.
He's a legend.
We have already sold 1,400, roughly, seats into the Smiz Gang Listener League in week 17. Smizzle.tv/league is your link that I assume that you have bookmarked, because if you don't, you should bookmark the link smizzle.tv/league. Go to your URL, type smizzle.tv/league, and then bookmark that, and you will have the link to the league forever. No matter what week it is, I'll change the redirect. It takes you right there every single week. This does not show up in the lobby on Draftkings. Absolutely no rake. $32,500 in, $32,500 going out, $10 in entry fees, 5 max at the end of this season. This will probably fill this week, so make sure that you get your lineup or lineups in there, and I will shout out the top 10 on the recap video on Monday. Joe Mixon is our first player in the 5 under 5, projecting at 4.8% at home against Kansas City. Now, look, there's a reason that these guys are under 5%. So like, well, you know, I think that Joe Mixon, now there's a problem that this or that or the other. Of course, if there were no problems with them, right? What was the line from, what was it, Road Trip? If everybody went this way, it wouldn't be a shortcut. It would just be called the way. He's under 5% for that reason. We know that there is a massive ceiling here. We've seen Joe Mixon access that 25 plus point margin in week 16, in week 12, week 11, 9, 8, 6. We've also seen him floor out against 2 very, very good run defenses in Denver and San Francisco in 2 of the last 3 weeks, and only 10 against the Chargers in a good matchup there. He projects low because there's a ton of really shiny objects at running back this week at very low salaries. So the way for you to get different this week at running back is to pay up to be contrarian and not have it be for Jonathan Taylor, who also projects because of the massive season that he's gotten for over 15+% in the Millionaire Maker this week. So Joe Mixon gives you an opportunity to get a player that they want to hand the ball off to. The Bengals want to identify as a run first bully ball club. They also have with Higgins and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow enough on the outside that Joe Mixon gets to run against light boxes enough that it makes him a very viable play for big splash plays, but he grinds it out more often than not with multiple games over 20 touches and many more over 25. So a good floor ceiling option for you at a low percentage in tournaments. Austin Ekeler provides us that same sort of environment this week. Really high usage in the passing game. We saw Jackson come in last week in his stead and get a ton of usage as well. Now, Denver is a tough nut to crack. They're a tough defense. That Fangio defense is very difficult, but we know that there is opportunities here for 25 plus fantasy points if they are forced to throw the ball on checkdowns. And as good as they've been, Denver, against outside wide receivers, with Mike Williams coming back and probably catching Surtain on the outside and Keenan Allen splitting between the slot and outside as well, Austin Ekeler has an opportunity here for a 6+ catch day. Now, if he does that, including all of the inside the 5 usage that he's had, which is the highest that he's ever seen on his career, 17 touchdowns on the season for Austin Ekeler, including the fact that he's missed a few games. Absolutely ridiculous year for him. 3.7% is his projected number in tournaments this week in week 17. And he makes for another pay up to be contrarian option. All of the low dollar guys, 6,500 and down, are going to come in with like either 7 to 35%. So the only way for you to get contrarian realistically, there's a couple of guys that are cheaper that I think, like a guy like maybe Rashad Penny or like that might be under 5. But realistically speaking, your best ceiling guys are the pay up to be contrarian guys here to build lineups in a different way. Because if everybody's going to pay down at running back and look to pay up at wide receiver, the easiest way to build a completely contrarian lineup is to pay up at running back and then find value where other people are not willing or able to find it. We are going to be building new YouTube channels this off season. So instead of dumping everything here, this channel, the main channel, will remain the main channel and will host all the DFS content that you've seen and enjoyed over the last 5 years. I appreciate you guys being here. And if you're still here at this point in the video, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. This channel will continue to stay here, but I've created an Al Smizzle Fantasy Football channel at smizzle.tv/FF. All my off-season stuff starting once we get to the playoffs with my recap of 2021, how my best balls teams did on Underdog and Draftkings, a recap of some of my preseason footage, what we were right about, what we were wrong about, just like the recaps that we do, including a lot of videos in the offseason, a full cadence of videos, running backs we should be looking at, rookies for fantasy football for your season-long drafts and dynasty leagues and everything else. So make sure that if you like the content on this main channel, go to smizzle.tv/FF, Al Smizzle Fantasy Football on YouTube, and drop a subscribe on there as well. Thank you very much for your continued support of the content. Steph Diggs is 4.1%. The Bills have an expectation of 29 fantasy points, an implied team total of 29.5, the highest on the slate, tied with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A pure and clear alpha wide receiver who, dare I say, based on the 141 targets that he's gotten this year, has underperformed for fantasy versus his expectation based on his usage. Tons of targets, tons of end zone targets and red zone usage, and just has been ridiculously unlucky this season. At 7.9K, when Cooper Kupp, who's maximized every bit of his usage at 9.5K, gives you a chance to get a discount of $1,600 off of the top wide receiver on the slate. Deebo Samuel, way on the right side of variance, $8,700 on this slate. You're getting an alpha of those caliber players for $7,900 against Atlanta's struggling defense, when everybody else is going to be on Devin Singletary, who projects at 20% plus this week. Allows you to be contrarian with an alpha wide receiver in the highest team total of the week, with a very realistic 8+ target expectation, with an end zone target in most games this year and multiple in many. So big time touchdown upside, 30-point ceiling every time he walks onto the field. Can bring this back with plenty of players on the other side. That might be foreshadow. Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be the second wide receiver. Now look, stop before you get upset. I understand that there are a lot of wide receivers on this slate who projected under 5%. DK Metcalf didn't make the list. He just missed. Jamar Chase at 4.2%. I already used Joe Mixon, so I didn't use Jamar Chase. There's a lot. You can get different at wide receiver very easily. However, we have been targeting this Baltimore defense week in and week out because of their inability, to stop opposing wide receivers, stop opponents' passing games, quarterbacks, tight ends, wide receivers, everything. They get trounced. It's why we were on the Bengals last week early when first look started. It's why we've been going up against them every single week. And now at this point in the season, they are so hobbled in that defensive secondary that they give up so many deep balls, so much yards after the catch, so much efficiency on red zone and end zone targets that a player like Odell Beckham Jr., who has the last couple of weeks been snapping at about 85+% for the Rams, another team with a total of 25, 26 and a half in that range. It keeps fluctuating. Sometimes becomes a little bit of the weather that's there or projected for this weekend. Gives us a chance to be contrarian without being stupid. He projects at 2.3% in terms of his percentage in the Millionaire Maker this week, with 25+ point upside due to 1, his volume of snaps, 2, the efficiency and volume of the offense that he's in, and 3, the inefficiency of the defense that he is going to be running against. And our last play, Kyle Pitts, correlates very well with that Steph Diggs play at 3.2%. You're telling me I can get Stefon Diggs and Kyle Pitts for 7,900 and 5,900 at a total of projected 7.3% as a secondary stack in tournaments? Are you freaking kidding me? Week 17 is drunk, and I don't blame it, because hell, it's New Year's. But like, this is ridiculous. Kyle Pitts has been on the wrong side of touchdown variance all season long. Now, some of that can be attributed to the fact that he is a rookie tight end who is running routes out of the outside, not against linebackers and safeties as you would run if you're an inline tight end. When he lines up in the slot and outside as much as he does, he's facing off against cornerbacks. Like even the best tight ends of all time, Ron Gronkowski, is that like his uncle? Rob Gronkowski, in his career, even in his prime years, when other teams defended him with a top level cornerback, or he ran routes on the outside or the slot and was squared up against a cornerback based on NFL Next Gen stats, his efficiency on those routes, his yards per catch, his air yards, everything else dipped. Their advantage being the large, fast humans that they are, who are these elite tight ends, they perform better when they are squared up against somebody who is not elite in coverage, like a strong safety or a linebacker. That's where their advantage lies. Kyle Pitts not lining up as much against linebackers and safeties this year. They've lined him up on the outside as though he's a wide receiver, and there's been a transition for him. However, in week 16, 100 yards receiving, 7 targets for 77 against San Francisco, 6 targets for 61 against Carolina, 1 touchdown on the year. I'm going to assume that based on his volume remaining the way his volume has remained, for the next 16 games that he plays, he will score way more than 1 touchdown as he grows and matures, and hopefully they scheme to get him lined up against the players that he has the largest advantage against, as opposed to not. Buffalo, a much softer defense on the inside than they are on the outside, very restrictive against perimeter wide receivers, much easier for you to attack when you line up inside and attack inside the hashes. So Kyle Pitts has an opportunity here at a 20+ point fantasy day, which would put him over 1,000 yards as a rookie tight end, which is a nice season long, albeit completely irrelevant stat to us in daily fantasy. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you had a great New Year's. I wish you all the best on this Sunday slate. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.